So yeah.
Bring her off.
Just want to go over and watch Todd be sworn in.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you stand, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And so first order of the day of the oath of office, Judge Thamoni is here to provide the oath. Your Honor, if you could step forward. And I think we talked earlier, you were going to do that in groups, and the first two would be our county commissioner-elects, if they could step forward and take the oath.
Morning.
And the state. Best of my.
And Your Honor, I believe the next ones would be the elected department heads, if they would step forward. Elected officials. Thank you, Mary. Mhm. They're still taller, Mary.
They are still talking.
I state your name. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
And that I will faithfully and impartially execute.
faithfully and impartially execute
And discharge the duties of the office of.
discharge the duties of the office of
County of Becker, State of Minnesota.
County of Becker, State of Minnesota,
According to the law and to the best of my judgment and ability.
according to the law and the best of my judgment and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
And then we have soil and water commissioners, if they could step forward.
I state your name. Solemnly swear. That I will support. The United States. I will faithfully and execute and discharge the duties. Soil and Water Conservation District in the County of Becker, State of Minnesota. According to the law and the best of my judgment and ability. So help me God.
Thank you, Judge.
I can.
There you go.
Hang on.
Well, I'm sure I got some in my bag I didn't need to bring in.
Got any left in there?
Do you guys need more coffee down there?
Well, we usually get our own, but I don't know what.
I won't drink anymore, so.
Well, I'm okay now. There's.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Richard.
All right, so we'll continue on. Election of board chair for 2023. I'll ask for nominations 3 times. Are there any nominations for board chair?
I would like to nominate Barry Nelson.
Any nominations for board chair?
I'd like to nominate John Okeson.
Any nominations for board chair? Nominations are closed. Can I get a motion to select a board chair?
I make a motion to select the board chair.
And what is your motion, sir?
Tell me how to do that.
You just, and make a motion and name the person that you would like to be the chair.
I would like to make a motion that Barry Knutson is our board chair,
Barry Nelson.
or Barry Nelson.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Sorry.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, 3-2 vote. Chair, it's your show.
Thank you. Our next order of business is elect the vice chair. I hope we can all get together as a board and move forward. I hope we can work as a team in the future. And I would like to open nominations for vice chair.
I nominate John Okeson.
Nomination for John Okeson. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Last call for nominations. Chair request a vote. All those in favor of Mr. Okeson signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We now have Mr. John, thank you for willing to step up.
Just a chair, if I could, did we get a motion in a second on the vice chair?
I don't know if we got a motion. We had a,
Perhaps we could just do that over.
I will second the motion of John Okeson, vice chair.
And did we have a first? I don't think we did. I think we just had a vote. So I think if we could just get a motion in a second and a vote.
I'll make the motion just to authorize or to appoint Mr. Okeson as board chair. Second.
Then I second this.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Our next item of business is committee list, and I know we had a committee list sent out. I would like to examine that, and maybe we get together on a little working session right now. And I want to put people in their strengths. I'm willing to give up committees that I have to enhance others with their strengths. I looked at the committee list and I saw, Richard, would you like to be on highway and take my spot on highway? I mean, I think you have better strengths than where some of your committees are now. I mean, would you agree? Would you rather be on highway or human services? Do you want, should we just think about some of these assignments? And the other thing I would like to do, I'd like to get every commissioner working with every other commissioner on a committee. So we all get to know each other better. We have new commissioners. And I think that would help us learn each other and work together better. If we could all get a committee that we've served with everyone. I want to serve with every one of you. And right now, we don't get to serve with everyone all the time. And I think we should all get to know each other better. We're going to be in this for 2 years. And I think that would be better for all of us if we could get those relationships built up. County government, just like any other government, is about relationships, is about how we can work with city, how we can work with school districts, how we work with employees. I think that would be a positive step for us to work with each other.
Barry, if you want to work with us, as far as I knew, this board chair thing has always been a rotation until it came to me. So now it looks to me like you guys got together there and changed that, and that's fine. But if you want to work with me, you changing that, I think that was not right. In fact, I know it was not right, and I'm going to say it wasn't right. And if you want to work with me, you shouldn't do things like that. So I don't know how.
I don't think Barry was the one that changed it.
Yeah, okay,
We have a
well,
point of
whatever.
order here.
I had to say that, and you got what I got. You heard what I got to say.
We are looking at our committee list, and if you have that committee list, I think there are some things on there that changes that we could make improvements on. If everyone wants to grab that committee list, would you like to go through this now, or would you like to have a break first and then examine it, or would you like to maybe we have 2 weeks to digest some of the changes that?
Well, I think if you got something proposed, we should.
I would like us to look at it, and a couple things I would like to have 2 commissioners on some of them. We can only have 1 voting member on some of these things, but 2 commissioners would get experience for, and I think, John, you probably agree with Prairie Lakes should have 1 voting member, but 2 people should be on there. It's a big committee, and we could have 2. I think planning and zoning, we could have 2 people sitting on that planning and zoning board for now. I don't think we need a review board. That's something that we should be looking at. We have a review. We have hired someone for review to review our job descriptions. I don't know. I think there should be a review, a way to, not a committee to review it, but a committee to, if it goes back and there's a discrepancy and they want to have it reviewed again, what's the term I'm looking for? A kind of a process to the second tier process to examine that. Would that be if the employee didn't agree or the department heads didn't agree, we'd have the next step.
Appeal.
Like an appeal process, yeah. And that we could set up some other way. And a question about, there are some AMC committees that are up next. I would like those to be in your strengths too. And if you plan on attending any of those committees, if you were not planning on attending them, there's really no reason to, you shouldn't have first choice if you don't plan on attending those meetings. So if you want, this is a tentative list that I have. If you want to go down and you can look at it. The AMC stuff we're going to skip for now. So we get down to Becker County. Fair Board. There's another one I thought we could have 2 with Mr. Varberg and Mr. Meyer would be the second person. Courthouse Committee, instead of, Erica, Mr. Okeson. That would be the next second change. Environmental Affairs, go with, Mr. Varberg, Mr. Meyer. Highway Committee, Mr. Varberg, Mr. Okeson. And Human Services, go with Mr. Meyer and Miss Jepson. Miss or Mrs.? Either.
Mrs. Either, yep.
We go down to Labor Negotiating. So you have two commissioners, Mr. Nelson, Mr. Meyer. And Planning and Zoning would be two commissioners. We could do Mr. Nelson, Mr. Jepson, or Miss, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Prairie Lakes would be Mr. Okeson, Mr. Meyer. Well, the alternate is anyone, so we could have all commissioners are second alternate. But we should have two people going that, so that one we don't have to list Mr. Meyer or Mr. Barber because everyone's an alternate. The Salary Review Board is usually the chair and vice chair for department heads and elected officials. And then Sheriff's Committee, Mr. Nelson, Mr. Meyer. And then the last one, the NACO delegate. I'm not familiar with that. John, what is the NACO delegate?
That is something that we discussed and, you know, AMC recommends that somebody should be probably designated as a NACO, whether you gotta be willing to attend a couple meetings probably, not as a committee member, but just as a delegate from Becker County to.
Where are those meetings?
There's probably a Midwestern one, and then there's probably one in Washington. And that would be all approved by the county board before trial. So but just to get a voice with being Minnesota, as all 87 counties have rung the NACO, and we have pretty good, strong representation out there, that probably somebody from this county should attend if all possible. So just put somebody on there, and I don't care if it's myself or you, Barry, or.
Well, I question the benefit of sending someone for that expense. I mean, there are opportunities.
It's an expense, but I think it's probably the numbers speak for themselves when we're there, and legislators see that, and.
I know there's been, through AMC, there was 3 openings for AMC board. I don't know if you applied for that, but that
No,
would be,
those are involved, like I said, are extra.
they're in, I mean, it would
All
be great to
meetings
have
are-
you. I think you should apply for the NACO board would be. But as long as the out-of-state travel would come before the board
Right.
prior to
Yeah.
any,
Oh.
that would be fine. So with that, I want to give you some time to consider this. And again, those are just some thoughts, and it's hard to do this completely fair but why don't we take a break and we'll decide, we'll look at it and you can make your decision when we come back and move on for regular business
Very, excuse me, I had one comment on environmental affairs. Those two commissioners should go hand in hand with Prairie Lakes because it's back and forth. And I think that's a recommendation for our past chairman and even our Steve School that they need, so much of stuff is the same.
Okay. So environmental affairs
In Prairie Lakes.
and Prairie Lake. So John, and I haven't tallied the numbers to see, but would you say you and Richard then on environmental affairs?
That's
That
fine.
as it was? Dave, so you,
Yeah, perfect.
okay,
I would also just to make note that I would like to be on the Mahoobie Outlaw, just because I'm very familiar with their program. But otherwise, I don't have any problems with that one. Or with the rest of them.
Richard, what are your thoughts on Mahubi Atwa?
Oh, Barry, whatever you think, I guess. I guess that's the way we're doing it, so.
I'm totally fine, Richard, too, if you want to be in it. I'm just was expressing that.
Yeah,
That
I
would
was
be one.
expecting something too, but you know what? You know, it don't always go like you expect it to.
Are you interested in getting off from extension, Richard?
Sure, Barry.
Well, in
No.
this is what it has on here for prior. Are you,
Yeah,
do you want,
Fine.
Okay, switch.
I don't care
There
about
with-
Mahoobie either. You go ahead and put everybody where you want them.
let's take a recess till come back at 8:50 and if you want to examine this anymore and
So you all move over here and I'll move down there.
it'll be at 8:50. have it in front of you. Anyone see any changes or anything they'd like to consider? Richard, would you be considering giving up Mahubi Atwa for natural resource? Would you like to be on natural resource instead of Mahubi Atwa?
Sure, Barry. Whatever you say, Barry. That's the way we're gonna do it.
Okay. Eric, is that,
Yep, that's
do
fine.
you want, is that okay with you?
Yep.
This question, Barry, on Labor and Negotiating Committee. I'd almost recommend you have somebody that's
You know, I
passed.
was thinking that you too, so maybe better be, I was thinking that too.
I mean, we're
John-
one-year contract and a lot of that's.
If you want to stay on it, I don't know if,
That'd be my suggestion.
Dave or me, which I don't, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. I can be on it or you can, whatever you decide. It's irrelevant to me.
So John and, it's labored, John and Dave.
You did change from the planning and zoning, so it's Chipson and
Well, it's the same. Planning and zoning would be just adding me as,
added.
Adding you on planning and zoning, Barry?
Mhm.
You know, Barry, I don't think you should be on planning and zoning. Now, if you want to hear my voice, you're gonna hear it. You're not one that should be on there.
Okay. Note taken. And so you would still be the, you'd still go to the, currently we have two on planning and zoning as a zoning ordinance. And then I thought if you wanted someone with you at the time, just a transition time to help understand some of the, there's a lot of rules and things. So, I mean, I certainly don't have any, and we've had two people on planning and zoning in the past. I certainly don't mind if you're the only one. If you want someone, and I could just come there for a couple meetings if you want to, just to,
I would be fine with two people, but I'm fine by myself.
I guess that's decision of the board. It doesn't, if it was just a transition time too, and to have two people on some of these when you're learning it. So it doesn't matter to me if I'm not on that. It's a lot of work. That's Larry.
Non-voting though.
Correct.
Mhm.
Correct. It's a non-voting and they just look for guidance. And I think the thought process was to give them more, for you being new, to give them ideas on how they can pass things with some restrictions that the board might be asking. So it's at that, and you can do that on, on your own too. That's, it's hard to jump into knowing all that. So if there's a big development coming in and you have a lot of opposition, how to pass that with some negotiations and compromises on some of the things. And Larry's done that in the past, and it's just hard as a first. So if you're comfortable with that, I'm fine with just. So,
Thanks, Larry.
so we can,
Thanks for the confidence.
we can take myself off as a second on the planning and zoning ex officio. That would be the Tuesday evening and
The tour day is the.
Thursday?
Always a Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay,
And now the planning commission public hearing is also on a Wednesday. Used to be Tuesday, now it's a Wednesday.
oh, okay. So just Erica on the planning and zoning. Any other thoughts? And as on the bottom, it states, any commissioner can be, a substitute on any of the boards. That's so if you can't make your meeting, just contact. And I would probably appreciate you send out a group email to all commissioners and then coordinate who would be able to go instead of maybe just one. But with that, let's look at the AMC, being this on the same page. Yep.
Mr. Chair, just back on Sheriff's Committee again there. Seems to me it'd be nice to have one seasoned or whatever you want to call it, committee member and one new. There's a lot of things we've been dealing with that,
Well, I gave up highway and I figured I had to have one of the big three. So I feel that I need to be on sheriff's committee because of giving up significant committee.
that'd be my thoughts or recommendations on that. But
We look at the AMC committees. John has been on highway. I think it's important to him to stay on there. He's a very strong advocate for highway policy. I've been on natural resource and environment. We've both been board chairs. We'd like to stay there. I would like to give your strengths to you that you feel would be your best option. Richard, I know, do you have an interest in going to AMC, the policy stuff, or do you not?
I do that.
So is there, the rest of the three then are up for,
I would like to be on the Health and Human Services Committee, Policy Committee.
Dave, do you have a
I have,
preference?
I have no preference.
Okay, well, we need someone to pick one, general government or public safety. Public safety is mostly with the sheriff's office, so general government is,
And I'm on the sheriff's committee, so maybe that would be a good one for me.
sure, and
Or-
we can attend all meetings. We can only vote, we are the voting, well, actually, any delegate that's at the meeting can vote no. So it's not really that important, but we like to put you in your strength, so. If you find you want to go over, you can always just go to the other. If sometimes there's something important on one of the committees that you go to. And
the issue is they all meet about the same time.
yeah, so you can only go to one. Sometimes there's joint meetings that both committees meet together.
Is that the AMC conference in December?
Well, there's a couple, there's about three meetings
Okay.
that it affects.
Okay.
At AMC.
Got
So you would want to be on public safety?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't, like I said, if somebody wants to be there instead, that's perfectly fine, but since I am on the sheriff's committee, that might help, maybe make sense.
Okay, and then in here, there's also MCIT. And currently that's Minnesota, counties, trust? It's not insurance, it's our insurance, but it's not insurance trust. It's a Minnesota County
Minnesota counties
intergovernment trust. I think it's intergovernment.
trust, yeah.
Is anyone, Ben was on their board. We can have a delegate that's interested in insurance. And again, that is, Dave, your name is on that. Are you
I'm
interested?
trying to find it here.
MCIT, right under Mahoobie. And all of us can be alternates.
It is Minnesota counties.
That-
Intergovernment.
Unless you're on the board, there's only one meeting a year, an annual meeting, I think, that's you go to.
Okay.
And you can take my name as office alternate because all of us would be alternates.
Okay.
MRC. There's one voting and the rest of our alternates. John, we're both down there. Do you want to be the voting member? And they have a new structure now. MRC's hired a firm that has multiple.
Well, I thought I was alternate where if you weren't there, I could vote.
Oh, yeah, but I think we could, I think MRC is a committee that we have two or.
There should be two, but I at the same time is sitting in on Indian Affairs Committee that They seem to meet the same time.
So, well, we have to have, I think you have to name one as your voting member and then the rest are second.
You can stay on it and put me as alternate.
Okay. So any other questions on the AMC? You're on Association of Minnesota County Indian Affairs Advisory Committee, John and Richard. Same thing, that's one person with all others, so John stay on as the. All right. So are there any other changes that we can come back to this at any time if anyone wants to change? Otherwise, you can just amongst yourself make a change if you're interested. As the list is before us, I entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the committee list.
Motion by Erica, is there a second?
I'll second the
Okay,
motion.
second by Dave. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Amanda probably we'll just double check, make sure we get everything after the meeting. I think we're all good. So, regular business. Agenda. I know Willis was going to speak at open forum about the Highway 34. But he had to meet with DNR, so he might want to be on the agenda. We'll have to add him later if we do. So any other additions to the agenda or changes? If not, I don't know. Do we need a motion to approve the agenda with no changes?
I would make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the agenda with no changes.
Motion by Dave,
I second the motion.
second by Eric. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries. Minutes. Any changes on the minutes?
Sure, I had one on my committee report. Find it here. Says Bowser Board, just strike that, or.
Okay, that was part of the One Watershed, One Plan, so the Bowser.
It wasn't.
And
Not related to the Bowser meeting coming up here. Next week.
Bowser is actually an acronym. It's Board of Water and Soil Resource. So it's capital BW, capital W, capital Board of Water and SR.
Yep.
There was a typo somewhere, but I don't just didn't. But the only other thing is on the HR minutes, put out I think it was put out an RFP for requests for band and grade, wasn't it? Not a bid. It wasn't a bid. We didn't ask for bids. We asked for an RFP. Under Human Resources, page 2 of 3. It says motion second to go out for bids for a class and compensation study. It was go out for RFP, request for proposal.
Yep.
Again, there was one small typo, but I can't. Anything else?
Move to approve.
Motion approved. I'll second. Any other discussion on the minutes? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries. You know, our old board packet was actually easier to get around with than this new one. And I think that's kudos to our IT department, how strong they are and how well we could do this. There are something, I think entering stuff, Amanda, you probably correct me if it's easier to enter stuff, but for usage, our old one was a lot more friendly. And maybe as we move on, we can see if we can't tweak this one a little bit to get to that point. All right. Get back to my. All right, open forum. Anyone at open forum today? Willis, and we may give him an opportunity when he comes back. Jerry?
That back. Instead of having- That's important.
Thank you, Jerry. Reports and correspondence. Anyone have any meetings or correspondence? And I know, I had, and John and I had a couple of Public Works building. It's really coming along. They're getting paint in there. I don't know how those painters can do paint, start on some project like that and paint that ceiling. But it's really coming along. Everything's really on budget. There was one, I can't remember, John, were you online that last meeting? There was
No,
something, but it was,
Prairie Lakes. So.
okay. So, but I tell you what, it's remarkable that we're on schedule and on budget with that building, because I've heard of a lot of other things around that aren't getting their product and aren't getting on budget. So, and the only other meeting I had was, had a meeting with Denise with Lakeland Mental Health, and Emma, was it Emma was with us? So we met with some Lakeland mental health people, and going to try to make sure we utilize theirs, and they're getting some dollars from state and federals that we want to make sure we're getting full usage out of and make sure we can enhance some of those programs. So thanks for calling that and making sure we get the most out of our dollars there. Okay, anyone else have anything they want to report on?
I had a couple of negotiations going really well. We've got the team down to 3 people and are very receptive. Excuse me. At Prairie Lakes, some of the biggest is attended with Larry, and one of the big things they're going to initiate is finally a drug and alcohol policy for their workers. And it seemed like there was a big hiccup being Otter Tail has a moratorium on some of that cannabis stuff, and I said it basically boils down there. You have a no tolerance policy when you initiate it, and if you're using, you get tested, you might pay the consequences. So actually, they're gonna, I think it went into effect January, but they're not gonna start initiating till June. Other than that, is just year-end stuff, basically.
A good yearly balance.
Pardon?
They've got a good yearly balance.
Yes, things are, for me, just attending the last 2 meetings is looking pretty good at the end, so. Our garbage, we're got a plus side on our garbage.
John, and maybe you can explain that a little bit with, Larry here too. Larry's been on that, but so we're required to bring so much garbage. Explain, because that's the percentage we are of the agreed upon. So explain the over under.
The effective budgetary numbers of burn 54,000. For about 23% of that. They have a running tally, and you have an over or a negative balance. We were in the negative for a while. It didn't set well to me. We're now always in a positive, because it's dollars and cents when you're in the negative.
Explain the cost if we're under. I mean,
It's per ton. If you're under 500 ton, you're down that much money. $131 a ton.
So we pay for 500 ton regardless if we deliver it or not. Is that
Well,
how
that was the program. Now it can ride into the next year. So you can catch up now, because otherwise Clay County is always in the 1,500 deficit because they can't get garbage.
okay? And Larry was working on offsetting some of theirs with some of our positives, so we're trying to work.
They thought they could make it up, I think, because they got extra drivers hired now.
They'll be in a new transfer station, so
Yeah.
they'll be making it up, but we still might negotiate something. Not me, you.
But I appreciate you coming, because the knowledge that you have over years of this position, I mean, it's hard to substitute that, so. Okay, anything else? Erica, I know, Erica contacted me about the process for Willis, and so do you have any, I mean, we can allow him to speak, but he had some about Highway 34.
Yeah, so Willis had contacted me, just to see there's potentially, they want to file some court actions against the DOT to try and stop the Highway 34 project. I had asked him to come to open forum to tell us more about it. And he's just looking for county board support,
Okay. And that
essentially.
they would be the Isaac Walton League, I
Isaac
think.
Walton, yeah. And I believe Isaac Walton and the tribe, Whiter,
Okay.
Benevision Ways also, supporting it. So he was just hoping that he could get, potentially some support from the county board.
I can give you a little bit more information on that. if you'd like.
Yeah, please.
They Contacted.
The Ikes?
I
Or,
don't know who's in charge of that, but I know Willis has been involved in that. And there's a cost, I think it's an injunction, would that be the right one, an injunction?
I think that's what he said. Yep.
To stop the
Mhm.
project. Quite a hefty fee, but they've already raised $6,000, and so I think that's probably why he's here, but.
well, we can give him an opportunity if he gets back here. Any other reports, correspondence? If not, we have an appointment. I'm sorry, I'm not doing as well as Larry and behind schedule. So Matt, do you have an assistant you want to appoint?
So I'd like to introduce Heidi Hart then as the new Assistant County Veteran Service Officer for Becker County. She started December 22nd. Brings a background, former Marine Corps veteran and spent the last few years in healthcare. So I'll let her introduce herself a little bit.
Hi, I'm Heidi Hartoon. I've been with Essentia Health since 2010 as an occupational therapist, and I worked with chronic pain on top of being an EMT for perm area EMS down there. I also was a chiropractic assistant for the last couple months. This has been a dream. I just didn't think it would ever happen, if you want the truth, you know. So I applied.
Oh, welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, do you want to do the oath?
I think you would probably, do you do the oath?
Normally the chair does for this.
I'm with Chair.
Doesn't matter.
It's up to
We need
you.
an oath that it needs to be signed.
I'll let you do it. Let you get up and let you come up here.
I should ask.
Or ex-commissioner, I mean, you have the. Okay. Hope there's not too many big words in here, because I have some of this stuff. Okay, just repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Heidi Hartoon,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
execute and discharge the duties of the Assistant County Veteran Service Officer. Execute and discharge
execute and discharge
the duties of the Assistant County Veteran Service Officer.
as the Assistant
County
Duties.
Veterans.
County Veteran.
You can look, you can. The Assistant County Veteran Service Officer
Assistant County Veteran Service Officer
in the County of Becker,
in the County of Becker,
State of Minnesota,
State of Minnesota,
according to the law
according to the law
and to the best of my judgment and ability.
and to the best of my judgment and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. County Administrator?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I have one appointment.
Okay.
to make to Planning and Zoning. I'd like to appoint Nick Bowers, District 3. The living bought a place in Erie Township. So I'll be living there.
Okay.
And I've had it open quite a while and haven't been able to find anybody, so.
Okay. So Kristen, make an appointment for Nick Bauer. Is that a motion?
Yes.
And I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Any other appointments? We'll have to ask if there, Amanda, could you ask Kyle and see if there's any openings for the new commissioners too? For any appointments? Thank you. One on P and Z? Okay, so you can try to fill those. County Administrator.
So just a few items, and this is more education for the two new commissioners, is there's a few grant programs that you'll be involved with either on committee or as a board. The Blue Cross Blue Shield grant is available specifically to help with planning on the dental project. If you recall, that was discussed at the joint governance meeting. This is a $100,000 grant that we are a pass-through for. So we have approved that grant has been, funds have been sent to the county. What you'll start seeing is invoices coming to the board for you to approve so we can direct that money back out. Jay Newbauer is our contact. She has some regular meetings. I don't believe we have a committee that's played a role in it, although Human Services has been involved, and I've attended their meeting. It's just something, as you start seeing those invoices, it's for planning only, and we are a pass-through. There is another grant, a local assistance tribal consistency fund. You probably would have gotten this as emails if you're commissioners. Those are going to be two allocations of 83,59359. That's 83,593.59. There really is no limitation. It originates out of ARPA. The only limitation is we can't use it for lobbying. We have until the end of January to finish applying for those funds. We've had a little bit of a problem with the registration, and I've been working with their department on that, but rest assured we'll have that approved before the end of January and receive those funds. And it really has to do with their ID. The ID Me setup they have is not, and Mary's been involved in this, has not been functioning from our perspective. So we'll get it addressed. They're aware of it, and we'll get it done before the end of January. The final program is the opioid grant. There's two lawsuits that were out there. One is 18 years of payments, and then another one is 5 years. The 5-year one is called the Janssen payment. And so we're getting those funds allocated to us now. It is required that we set up through public health a planning group. I just spoke with Denise this morning on what the status of that group is. It's currently being put together, but that group needs to make recommendations to disperse those funds. And like I said, we're receiving the funds now. We just don't have made a decision on where we're going to be setting those. One thing I also mentioned at joint governance, but I thought I'd reiterate it again, is we did receive a preliminary contract from ACH. This is going to be the vendor that provides medical assistance to our inmates, our jail inmates, essentially medications and things like that. We're going to bring that to the board on the 17th. Mend, of course, has put in notice. They declared bankruptcy, and they've told all their customers to find an alternative. And so ACH, we feel, is the best alternative. We're going to be bringing you a 1-year agreement. It's going to be higher cost than Mend, but we're going to be actively looking at other alternatives. And again, we worked very proactively to keep our nurses here. The board approved funding their pay because Mend wasn't. And so at the end, it'll be an easy transition when we have the nurses in place. I talked a little bit about this economic development position already. The board approved it at the last meeting. The one role the board's going to have in this, as we start posting the position, is the enabling resolution for the Economic Development Authority. The enabling resolution is what makes a county authority. A county authority is a public-private partnership. You guys started out having an HRA, a Housing Redevelopment Authority, and an Economic Development Authority. Back in the 90s, you merged them into a county authority with HRA powers. We would like to review those powers. We'd like to review it through the authority committee first, and then, of course, bring some recommendations to the board. But some of our thoughts are we'd like to expand the authority. We do feel that we'd like a little bit more diversity in the authority, and I think some of our committee members at EDA sort of agree with that. But we'll start working on that, and plus working on what's called a comprehensive economic development strategy. So once this person comes on board, what will be their objectives? How will they be measured? What are we trying to accomplish? And of course, that will go through the EDA and the board. ARPA funds, you'll see at the next board meeting, an ARPA agenda item. Again, we review those at every other board meeting. And our recommendation, for at least from an administrator recommendation, is to attempt to approve and close out as much as the internal projects that we can for the first quarter of next year. We do have a lot of outside agencies that have asked for funding, but we've held off because the board wanted to focus on internal projects first. We've allocated out, I would say about 2.4 million out of the little over 6 million that we've received. And much of that has been internal projects, although you heard at the joint governance meeting talking about a food pantry. That's something that was an outside project the county did fund. The county also funded the fair building, there as well. So, but most of them have been internal. Couple RFPs that we're going to be bringing to the board. We've already got authorization on the class and comp study, and we have a document complete. We'll review that with our county attorney, and I expect we will bring that back to the board for final approval. And then also we are looking at RFP on insurance as well, which again, we are in process with. I won't add anything more to the bargaining unit contract. Since we had a member of the public talk about wild rice, just to give an update on that, we've finally completed all the data. Both Mary and Steve Skoog and I have been working on that. We've completed all the data that is available, that we can put in a new resolution that we can go to Bowser, that it can go to the board. I think the one challenge that we have not gotten an answer on is for Mr. Brent Arney, was whether we need to go to all the other counties first before we bring that resolution to the board, or can we just bring the resolution to the board? I don't have an answer to that yet. But I have every expectation, once I get that answer, I can bring that resolution to the board on the 17th for consideration. There's a lot of history to this. At one time, you had I think maybe 20 some years ago, you had a member, and then that membership was given to another county. So now we are trying to get that back. And we've also stayed in contact with Clearwater, because even though we could make the case for the numbers to support a vote for us, we think having Clearwater with us gives it even a stronger argument. Finally, I think I just want to make sure everyone is aware on the class and comp study. I just want to make sure people are clear on that. That really is going to differentiate what people's compensation are between employees. So a department head to department head, department head to employees. So it's something that, counties probably do every 10 years. We are a little behind on that, but we feel strongly that will help not only with bargaining unit negotiations, but it will also assist us in developing a wage table and go beyond the band and grade system we have, which is quite antiquated when you compare it to other counties. And I guess I will just leave it at that.
Okay, any questions? The 83,593 is paid twice, once for 2022 and once for 23. And that is that's from the Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund under the American Rescue Plan. So, moving on. Finance, Mary.
Good morning. The first item I have are finance minutes from December 29th. I'm requesting a motion to approve regular claims and auditor warrants.
Move to approve.
Second.
Was it just claims and auditor warrants? These have been paid, correct?
Yes, they were sent out on Friday.
Did it include over 90 days?
We had only 1 week between the meetings, so I do not think it had over 90 days because the staff was out. This was to pay the year-end bills.
Right, but with some of those year-end bills, if they're over 90 days, does it include those?
Not sure. We will be bringing in a list for the next meeting.
But these have already been paid, that's my question.
Right, right.
So there's,
I.
so we
don't
want to include
remember
over 90 days.
If there are any.
Well,
Mr. Chair, there wasn't any brought forward at finance,
what?
Yeah,
any over 90.
yeah.
Well, there is,
time.
I think there may be over 90.
Okay.
Are we approving
Okay.
those? I think it's important to make sure we keep those current.
I'd include that in the motion if there's
Okay.
over 90.
And I can adjust.
Okay, is
the
that appropriate for the second?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We do not have any licenses this morning, so I'm going to move to resolution 123-1A, 2023 publication bids. Notice was published in December. 2 bids were received. Page 13 of the packet had the summary. We gave 4 options. We're recommending option 1, which is the Detroit Lake Saturday newspaper to be the legal newspaper for Becker County. And the Frazee Forum will be designated as the second publication for the financial statement.
And that's who we currently have as option 1. And
Yes.
it serves the greatest.
Circulation. The
Circulation.
biggest, the other difference is this used to be a Sunday paper and it changed to Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
The print, we're changing all the time, but hopefully we continue to change and monitor how we go online rather than print copies, but is there a wish of the board? Entertain a motion to approve option 1.
Move to approve.
Motion by John to approve option 1 for the publication. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Richard. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
thank you.
Again, congratulations on all the awards coming up for the paper. We're gonna see how well we clean up there. All right, back to the top. Denise.
Morning, Commissioners. First item under Human Services is the DHS Children's Mental Health Screening Grant Contract. It's a renewal agreement of $41,213 for 2023.
Wish of the board, page 18.
Move to approve.
Motion by John to approve the grant contract.
Second.
Second by Richard. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Claims?
Yep, the second and last item is claims for Human Services, Public Health, and Transit.
Move to approve.
Motion by John to approve human service, public health and transit claims. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Erica. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
Lisa.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just have one property tax abatement requesting approval for due to a house fire.
Chair entertain a motion to approve resolution 123-1B. Oops, sorry, wrong one. The abatement. That's down one.
Move to
And
approve.
so when you get your board packet, we can go, you can see the page is 36 and we can just scroll down to 36. And that is, paper copies are a lot harder to follow along with. That was an abatement for $388 for a house fire in Green Valley Township. Amanda, I have a motion and a second.
Second.
Do we? No, John, did you?
Did you?
John made a motion, second by Richard. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank
I
you.
see there was another significant fire in Lake Park just a couple days ago, and the house was, it's a total loss.
Okay.
The roof has fallen in, so
Sure, we'll get them a form.
unfortunate time of year
Yeah.
to lose everything.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lisa. Matt. Matt, I don't know, if you haven't been introduced, please introduce yourself to the board or the new commissioner, so.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Matt Erickson. I'm the Becker County's Veteran Service Officer. Been here since July. So happy to serve. I've got one resolution request to accept the donation from the Damien Society. They generously put forth a donation of 100 Becker County Transit tokens to use for veterans, and that's got $150 value on it. So just seeking board approval to accept that donation.
All right.
Move to approve 1B.
Motion by John, second by Richard. Can you explain what is the Damien Society? I'm not. Do you have any, does it?
Their big fame is their house tours that they put on.
Okay.
And that's,
It's a local chapter then okay. All right,
they've
well,
been kind of inactive because of COVID the last several years, so they're
Okay.
getting going.
all right. Well, thanks to them, and we'll call a question, and all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay. We have highway, and I believe Willis had something he wanted to talk about. So we'll do highway, and then Willis, we'll add you. At that time, I'll ask for motion to add you to the agenda if you wanted to speak on a topic, and then we'll get whatever your consideration. We'll do highway first before we. And we'll kind of just put you at open forum class or.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Olson, Becker County Highway Engineer. Two items for your consideration. The first is our notice of annual construction advertisements. We're requesting adoption of the resolution to authorize us to use our website to advertise our highway construction projects.
And we've been doing that now for a while. We do the initial and the local paper and then put the packets and.
Correct, yep.
Move to approve 1C.
Motion by John to approve 1C. I'll second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Second item for your consideration, requesting a motion to approve Amendment 2 to a contract with the DNR on the construction of the Heartland Trail project from our County Road 10 into Frazee at Trunk Highway 87. This is a second extension. It extends our contract with them for an additional year. Right now, we are leading the design of the project out there, and we've been contracted by the DNR to do that. This is to help us expedite this project a little bit quicker.
Move to approve the DNR amendment to Heartland Trail.
Motion by John,
I'll second it.
second by Erica. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. I want to get to you in 1 second. I remember something though on our committee list. With moving Richard to highway, I would still like to complete the public works portion of that as John and myself as that committee. So we have highway committee and that's John and I but we have a weekly public works meeting. We're on the last half of the public works building and I'd like to stay on as that for the remainder of the building.
On the building committee.
On a public works building committee, which would expire at the completion of it. If that works, I would entertain a motion to add that to our committee list.
So moved.
Motion by John. I will second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Now I'll ask for a motion to allow open forum to continue at this, do we need a motion if it's just going to be open forum? I think we'll just extend open forum to this 9:36 time and allow Willis Bingsey. He came and asked earlier if he could do it when he got done with the meeting. So we'll just extend open forum for you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate special accommodation. I was just on a Zoom call with DOT this morning. My name is Willis Matson. I'm here representing the Isaac Walton League, but I'm also a property owner on Scenic Highway 34. The county board and the citizens group and the local tourism bureau and a number of other organizations have been dealing with DOT's abrupt change in policy for the Lake Country Scenic Byway. That is Highway 34 between County 29 and Osage. The abrupt change was that for decades, the DOT has allowed mature trees and shrubbery to grow in the clear zone that's ordinarily not within their policy. And because of their care of that vegetation, the highway was designated a scenic byway. This 2 years ago, they abruptly changed that without notice and now are going to clear all vegetation out to 65 feet from the center line. In addition to that, they were going to remove shade trees from the Smoky Hill section, a 7-mile section out of the total 21 undergoing highway resurfacing, and remove shade trees in order to allow sun melting of winter snow and ice. We've challenged that, and I know the county board has considered it several times and supported the local citizen groups in opposing both aspects of that project and asked for revisions. We have negotiated in good faith for a long time. DOT has finally said it is no longer negotiable. What I'm hoping to get is a sense of the board's conviction on trying to do whatever we can to continue to protect that section of the highway that's been in its current state for so many years, and all of us have come to appreciate. DOT has made that accommodation, made the exception in policy many times over, and now they're intractable, absolutely insist that it must be done this way. I'm not sure how citizens get a state agency to be more responsible, but we know it would be easier for the Isaac Walton League, for the Scenic Byway Citizen Committee, for the others, the Whitest Tribe, Onto the Earth, everyone else who's on board with this to negotiate, if we actually believed we had a little bit more oomph behind what we ask for. We've shown that they're actually violating a federal law when they do what they're proposing to do. I won't go into detail on that, but in spite of the law violation, they want to proceed. In order to show DOT that they must comply with this law, it appears we're going to have to put them in front of a judge. We've looked at our own resources and we've talked to an attorney. It's going to cost us about $10,000 to get it to the courthouse door, just for a retainer. We've actually raised $6,000 pledges toward that $10,000 already. We don't want to ask you today to decide whether you're going to enter into any litigation, but it would be good to know and get a sense of the board's conviction, whether or not this is important to the county in terms of holding a state agency accountable for a resource that's been so valuable to all of us. And if necessary, have them explain to a judge why they need to violate the law and go against the entire community to enforce this kind of a strict maintenance of a right-of-way. So this is maybe a rhetorical question for you now, but we'd like you to know that we're at that point, and we may need to come back to you and find out whether or not this is a decision that the county board wants to take on and somehow join in this process. If moral support, legal support, staff support, or whatever, we'd like to continue to know that the board is still in the position it has been the several times it's come before you. Do you have any questions on that? And I have one more topic I want to change to, if that's allowable.
Yes, and the board doesn't have to have any discussion during open forums at all. If you wish to, you're certainly welcome to. There's no request for consensus. If you're looking for consent, I'm only going to tell you what I think. I think it's obviously I don't have the information we need to make that decision today, but it'd be very difficult for me to enter into any legal battle with the state. I mean, that I just don't think that's the best use of our resources. So that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But and no one else has to say any or give them any. That's up to you. But we may move on, or if you wish to comment, you're welcome to as a board. And otherwise, you move on to your next topic. So
No other questions on that. Thanks. I'm open to conversations privately beyond this. The other topic is the renewal of the issue that we appeared, the Isaac Walton League appeared before this board and has come up before you on the confined animal feeding operations. You have more or less an informal moratorium now. I don't know whether you're going to move forward to make that a formal moratorium or not, but it seems to me that there was an important component of this that we were interested in cooperating with the board and staff on. And that is that if the current project is proposed in Spring Creek Township were to move forward, it was important to use that project to inform future decisions. And the important thing that I thought the board did very well was to insist on there being a water sampling regime on that. And so we want to get that back in front of you and the new commissioners. By the way, welcome to the board. It's nice to be able to deal with the new commission and as you seated. But we want to have that on the table and continue cooperation and communication. We think we can make the operation better and inform the future policy of this board if we gather this information, if this particular project's going to go forward. So just wanted to put that on your radar and offer the Isaac Walton League's assistance in developing an appropriate monitoring program for that. So if there are any questions on that, I'd be happy to entertain them.
all right, thank you, Willis.
Thank you for the accommodation. Appreciate it.
Anything else before the board?
Just one clarification. We had talked about this last year and I had talked to the two new commissioners just this morning. They are interested in attending that training. So if the board would so incline, we'd like your support to just register them and take care of hotel accommodations, things along those lines.
Absolutely. I think that this training is invaluable for the networking that you'll receive down there for other commissioners. And that class of commissioners that you go in with is the group that you will, for the rest of your career, you will seek those people out. So really make those bonds, as many as bonds as you possibly can. They are truly valuable in what they're going through in their counties. Sometimes it is we can learn from that. So I'll make a motion to authorize the new commissioners to attend AMC Leadership School and cover the expenses and per diems.
Second.
Any questions? All those.
I guess I've talked to both of them about the importance of it going to it because it's very beneficial, legal aspects and all that stuff. So.
All right, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, carries. One final thing. I know Mary, up in your office, you have there's one of your employees had a significant loss of a death and just want to express our sincere condolences. It's I think that was fairly unexpected and it's interesting at last night's football game. If any of you watched that, what's important in life comes down to you change your point of view at times in life and that was the time when those football players realized this game isn't important. The health and life and well-being is what we want to strive for. And I think in the county, we want to push for those life healthy choices to to support our employees in times of need and rejoice in their times when they're celebrating life events. So hopefully we can move forward and remember what's really important. And send prayers to that young man's family. Don't know him, but that just brings life in perspective. So from the football game, professional football game was postponed indefinitely last night, the most important game of the year for both teams. And it's just not that important. So nothing else. We will adjourn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just have to go back.